So one of the first things on my mind is, why do I do what I do? And how does that affect you as someone who listens in and taps into this conversation? So when I first started parenting, one of the first most profound moments of my motherhood came at one of the darkest moments. My oldest son, we found out when he was 5 months in utero that he had a heart condition that they called incompatible with life. And that phrase was a pretty powerful way to walk into parenthood. It really shook me to my core. And they asked all sorts of questions about, do we want to terminate? Honestly, I was baffled. It was the first moment in my life I realized I didn't know the answer to something so incredibly important. I was in my mid-30s, and this felt like obviously the most important decision I would ever make about someone else's life. So unknowable, and I had so many feelings. And it was my first moment where I turned to the baby, and I said, I don't know. Can you put the, transducer on the baby, and let's ask him. And he had been impossible to catch before that. They had so much trouble reading the scans because he would always hide. And they always joked that he would hide, never wanted to be seen. And in this very moment, I put my hand on my stomach and I asked him, I said, do you want to be born? Looks like it's going to be quite a ride. Tell me what to do. And he just turned right to me. And I could see his little eyes, like his face, just looking right at us. And in that moment, I was filled with this incredible peace, knowing that this was going to be quite a ride. But he had said yes. So I said yes. And that was the birth of my motherhood. And it was the moment that I realized that this was not going to be just my decision. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but I think there are moments, and I don't know if any of you have ever felt this, but as a mother, where you feel like there's your story as a mother, there's your partner's story, if you are doing this with someone. There's your other children's stories, if you already have other children. And there's your child's story. And I think so much of the time it's hard for us to see ourselves as the characters in other people's books. And up until that moment, it was like my pregnancy, like our pregnancy, my husband and mine. But it was in that moment I realized this was also so deeply his life. And that I was now intertwined in his story. It was a profound awakening and a profound initiation into motherhood. And I will share more stories as the days go on.